your videos. We are going to discuss an extremely important subject today, which is about open innovation. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. And then we will also have group discussion a little later, after an hour or 45 minutes or 30 minutes, to identify examples of open innovation, either from your lab or from your domain. Now, since groups will be heterogeneous, please switch on Gupteshwar, Usurapu, Vikram Kumar, Komal, Krishna, Smriti, Bharat, Charu, Ramit. Kindly switch on your videos. Kindly switch on your videos, please. Yes, very nice. Please, Vikram, Komal, Meenakshi, and on other pages also, I'll go to other pages. Please switch on your videos. Switch on your videos, Nishant, Ram Prakash, Prabha Sharma, Aditi, Bhagyashri. Please switch on your videos. That will be very nice. Krishna, Chaitanya, please. Vikram, it will be nice if I could see your faces and we can talk. You can imagine talking to the wall is not a very great idea. And at the moment, you all seem like a wall without any faces. No, that's not very good. Sakshi, please switch on your video. Yes, that's very nice. Very nice, very nice. Himanshu, Swati. हिमांशु, स्वाति, विक्रम क्या बात है, तुम आवाज आ रही नहीं तुम्हारी भाई. विक्रम, कोमल, स्वाति, गुप्तेश्वर, प्लीज स्विच ऑन योर वीडियो. मीनाक्षी, शालिनी, क्यों वेट कर रहे हैं इतना टाइम, हम लोग क्यों लगा रहे हैं. स्वाति, प्लीज स्विच ऑन योर वीडियो. विभूति, प्लीज डू दैट. विभूति, Krishna, yes, that's very nice. Thank you. Meenakshi. That's it. Parvesh, Rajput, please switch on, please switch on, please switch on. So what we're going to do in the group is to identify examples, preferably from CSIR system or from your labs. And if you cannot find quickly, then even from in your domain, from anywhere in the world, examples of open innovation. Now, naturally, the innovations which are protected by intellectual property right are in some sense closed innovation. They can be accessed by outsiders through licensing, but you cannot use them without authorization. Open innovation, as I define them, are those which can be explored openly, and I'll come to that in a minute. So our idea is to identify the potential of open innovation. How can a society progress? To give you an example, if let us say the varieties that made green revolution possible, wheat, paddy, maize. Now, if these varieties were protected, as in many European countries these are, and if farmers couldn't have all right, I can understand Harshvardhan, it's all right. If you can't open, that's fine. So if these varieties had to be bought every year as they have to be done in hybrids, and if they have to be, you cannot even retain your seed, you cannot multiply it, you cannot share it, then it would have been difficult. So what does Indian Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers' Right Act provide? Even those varieties which are protected in India can be shared, can be retained, can be sold, so long as you don't use the brand name. You can do that all. So it's a very unique law that we have in our country, which while provides protection, but does not prevent you from selling, sharing, storing, exchanging, whatever. So agricultural production could take place to this extent. Similarly, under Aroma Mission, many of you, so there are some people from CIMAP here. Anybody from CIMAP, IHBT? Can somebody raise hand? From CIMAP, IHBT, anybody is there? No. All right. I have a chat. Let me see if somebody's there. No. Well, CMAP and IHBT and many other labs are involved in that, and aroma emission, where the cuttings of lemongrass or vetiver or many other crops have been disseminated all over the country openly. No restriction. Farmers can multiply them, sell it to anybody, exchange, no property right, no protection, no restriction. And the result is amazing because I have been there right in the early morning. People stand in line outside CMAP office to get this material that CMAP distributes every year before the planting season to farmers at practically either at no cost or very low cost. Now, that's an example where CSIR has used open innovation to diffuse certain solutions, millions, I would assume millions of acres all over the country if you look at it. Lemongrass, vetiver, as I said, and many other aromatic plants. So there are examples in CSIR. There are examples of solutions that you open source. Anybody can copy it. Anybody can set up an enterprise and make it and sell it. Sometimes you also open innovation at maybe a nominal fees, let's say 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees or 100 rupees, just to know who is using it. Swati, do you know, can you tell everybody about the technologies that you share openly in the country? Can you just give a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes presentation or just explain? Swati, can you do that? I'm sure you're familiar with it. Swati, can you unmute yourself? Swati, I'm not able to see you. Are you able to unmute and speak? Can you go ahead? Can you go ahead? Just tell us about what has been your understanding of how open distribution of materials and solutions and technologies has helped improve productivity. Where is Swati? Swati, go ahead, please. I'm not able to see. Swati, unmute yourself. You have not unmuted yourself. Swati, can you unmute yourself? Let me see. Can you unmute? Is there any difficulty you are facing? Namika, can we unmute Swati? I don't know why she's finding difficulty. Namika, can we unmute her?
Well, so I think you can because you are the co-host.
No, but Swati, I'm not able to unmute her.
Okay, sir.
Should I make you co-host also?
Yes, sir. Let me try once. Make me co-host.
Okay. It's not, I cannot do that. Anamika can do that because she is the host. She has not made me.
Sir, I cannot find Swati in the meeting. I think she has left.
Swati is there. Swati is there. Second page, I can see Swati. Swati is there, but I cannot. I saw her in chat. Oh, has she left? Maybe she's joining again.
Yeah, sir. Probably she's joining again.
Okay. Fine. Doesn't matter. We'll see when she joins. But the point is that anybody else would like to give 1 or 2 examples before we proceed with the broader framework? Anybody wants to give an example of an open innovation which was shared widely with maybe mechanics, with the artisan, with the small enterprises, with a cluster of industry?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
sir, I see lavender technology is available for public use.
Correct.
And lavender and many aromatic plants, CSIR IIIM provides those seeds and technical know-how to farmers of the region of Jammu and Kashmir, and particularly in Bhadarwah area and different hilly areas where they can grow according to their climate. The farmers there are institutionally benefited by know-how as well as the extraction technology or for the essential oil is also provided by the IIIM there.
Very good example.
Emission.
Yes, and I've seen IHBT is doing in Himachal, I think, the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I think that is. I don't know exact, but it may be.
Yeah. No, I've seen the lavender also being grown in the higher altitude of Himachal also.
Yes, sir. Many medicinal plants are also provided by
Correct. Same thing happened to Kesar also. Kesar was being grown. Hing has been asphateria. We used to import from Afghanistan. Now it is being grown in Himachal and many other places. So these are many examples where CSIR labs have shared technologies openly. Now the problem is that many small enterprises do not have their R&D facilities. I mean, they are struggling day-to-day manufacturing, marketing. Who will do R&D for them? So either they engage with the students like you, and you can help solve their problem, give them advice, if you wish to, or the labs make certain solutions open access for small enterprises and can possibly put differential prices of licensing. So for the small enterprise, you may do it at, let's say, 10,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees, whereas for large enterprise, you may charge even a higher license fee. So you can keep an IP, but have a differential process of opening, and don't try to give exclusive right, but non-exclusive right. So that is one way in which openness can be encouraged. You can also open, as he mentioned, know-how, not just the technology, but also how to use that technology, how to incorporate that technology in your production process. Very important, extremely important. By reading patent itself, you cannot possibly go a very long way because people don't describe every detail in the patent application. So let's go, and I don't think Swati has yet joined again. Swati, have you joined again? No, I don't hear her. Okay, so let's go to the question that we are going to ask today. How does open innovation play a role in reinforcing experimental and innovative ethic and a collaborative culture for problem solving? This is what we are going to study, and we will try and see whether we can generate some lessons from this. Now, I don't know if I've shown you this. Did I show you this diagram earlier? No? All right. So this is the painting made 25,000 years ago. 25 to 30,000 years ago. Bhimbetka Caves, Madhya Pradesh, India. One of the oldest cave paintings we have. Now look at this. So the artist teacher here wanted to teach the disciples how to make a human figure. So he said, make a cross and make one line, then make two lines here. Then make a circle over that becomes head, line, hand, legs. And I'm getting that lesson exactly as he or she taught 25,000 years ago. What an example of open teaching, open learning. And it is all there on record in the cave painting. So I would argue that openness in our genes. We want to share. I mean, in communities, the society would not have come about if we didn't have the desire to share. And because we have a desire to share, we make friends, we make social relations. That's how society evolves. That's how community evolves. So it is not contrary. On the contrary, I would say the restriction that we put is a recent invention, though not very recent. Let me give you some examples. Some good, some not so good examples. So in West Bengal, some of you might be from that region, Murshidabad was famous for mango. So there was a tradition that they will send in every season a basket of best mango, very good mangoes to the Viceroy, British Viceroy in charge of the Kolkata presidency. But what they will do, before they send the mangoes, they will puncture them with a needle. Why would you puncture? Because then the stone of the mango cannot be used as a seed to grow another mango tree. It was the first case of termination, genetic use restriction. We talk about GERD technology, genetic use restricted technology, so-called terminator gene. Here they were terminating the potential of growing seedling from the seed by puncturing it. That is a very old example I heard in Bengal, where community was trying to control the propagation of their variety. It is said, I'm not sure, but history, there's a reference in the history that those people who made Taj Mahal, their hands were cut so that they couldn't make another Taj Mahal. Very unfortunate, very regressive, very tragic, but a way of restricting diffusion of art and skill of those workers to do better. I'm sharing with you the coercive ways in which restriction is being put. In Manusmriti, there is a reference that, and it may be controversial for some of you, that women and the lower caste people, if they hear the spiritual knowledge, the molten lead should be put in their ear. Again, very regressive practice. Very regressive. Why should you exclude anybody from access to knowledge? But anyway, that is a reference there. So there have been attempts to restrict. You know about Eklavya? What happened to Eklavya? Sharika, you remember?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Eklavya wasn't allowed to have any sort of knowledge because he belonged to lower caste. So that is why he made a statue from mud of Dronacharya, and he used to practice. But when Dronacharya came to know that he was way better than Arjun, he asked for his performing hands thumb as Guru Dakshina, so that Arjun remains the best and Eklavya is not able to shoot the arrow.
Would you ever revere or respect such a teacher? Be honest. Don't try. Now I know your sanskar, culture, values are coming in conflict with what you want to say. But tell me whatever you want to say. You want to defend it? Defend it. I don't mind.
No, sir. Like, if I come to the basics, that a teacher, not as a person how Dronacharya was, but as a teacher how Dronacharya was, then that was wrong on the part of Eklavya. He should have had access to knowledge, and if he was the best, then he should have been allowed to compete to prove his authenticity. And if Arjun would have won, then the share amount of knowledge would have been equal. Dronacharya could have proved that Arjun is best, but he was afraid that this guy, I didn't even taught him, and he's from lower caste, and he's just watching me from far behind, and he's way better than the pupils that I'm teaching on face to face. So it was just fear. And I think all the caste things and how the king would treat him later on, it was his own insecurities. So as a person and as a teacher, that was not fair.
But you will agree that in the modern time, in the recent time, government has an NPTEL system where the lectures of the faculty from IITs and from, I don't know about CSIR, whether you do that or not, but IITs have done that. IIT and ISC have done that. They have put the whole courses online so that anybody can use that course material and register for that course and clear it. And many universities have allowed to credit these courses and clear them and make them part of their transcript, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So today,
and it is a very good part also.
Exactly, very good. Because then we are trying that no matter from which college you are, but if you have talent and if you can learn from open learning, by all means do that. So there is a long tradition of openness in our society, and I'm happy to say that in the modern time, the government and the education system is moving towards more and more openness. I do not know, Ramit, Prerita, Chikha, Ranjit, and all of you, how much do you share from what you write? What is your download to upload ratio? I don't know, but must be very high, isn't it? Download must be way higher than the upload. Have you shared all your assignments on on the net? Anybody? Has anybody shared all the assignment that you have written in various courses on the net? Anybody can read them, and if they can learn from it, why not? What's the harm? Has anybody done that? Is it a good idea or bad idea?
Good idea, sir.
Because I make it obligatory for my students in IMA to put their synopsis online. Anybody should know what projects my students are doing. They can critique them, they can comment on them, they can suggest whatever they want to do. Because I believe that, and in fact, many times my lectures I webcast, I do Facebook Live, so that if anybody wants to learn from them, why should I bother? I mean, it doesn't deplete anything. So it is good if we could put our assignments online and create a repository of open source content for the world at large to learn from ours. I'm sure you have found similar assignments or similar blogs which you have drawn upon when you wrote your assignment. Isn't it true? Are you saying all the references or papers that you read, you paid for them, Preeta? Huh?
No, so there's some free content also that's available.
But how much free content have you contributed so far? Preeta?
So the ratio has been low.
कैसे करेंगे इसको बढ़ाएंगे कैसे? How do we create open culture where we can share more and more? And if there is a flaw in your argument, somebody will point it out to you, isn't it? Or if you miss some important reference, somebody might point it out to you. That look, it's a good assignment, but you should have looked at this paper or that paper also. Sometimes people do that. I do that sometimes. When I read something and I find it interesting, I share. Other day, there was somebody I don't know from UC Davis, I think. She shared, she said, I'm teaching a course on hierarchies in academia, and I'm looking for good papers. And I tell, well, there's a very interesting book, Man of Ideas by Louis A. Kozer, old book. I read it way back in 70s, late 60s, 70s. It is a good book about how the gatekeepers in the academia influence the kind of problems students choose or work on, and what problems are ignored, etc., etc. And there are many such books that I knew and I shared. So now that professor may or may not have known those references, and if he doesn't know and these references are shared, her course in your college will become better. What do I lose? Nothing. Few minutes of my sharing would enrich their curriculum. So it be. I don't mind. So many times when you share your reading list, when you share your assignments, your ideas, you may get feedback from people who you don't know. And these feedback can be a very powerful source of our learning and growth and socialization. And in future, you can get new partnerships, who knows? So it's very important. How many of you, let me ask a question, and you don't feel embarrassed. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to say you will do it. But how many of you will at least upload one assignment on your blog or on your net? Anyway, just let me know to get an idea. How many of you would like to do that? And send me a link also. Any assignment you want to do, upload all, wonderful. If somebody does all, send it to me, a link, and I will send you my copy, autographed book, my book on grassroots innovation as a gift to you. That's my offer. Anyway, how many of you would like to do that? Small incentive, I don't know. What is it worth? What is still? She's saying he will do that. Monica doesn't want to do. Monica, maybe it's a previous answer. Aditi says she will do that. So kindly send me the link, and I'll be very proud, and I will share it on social media that look, ACSIR students are now sharing the assignment. Why shouldn't other IITs and NITs and others follow their lead that CSIR is taking? I will create a buzz about it. Around the world, I will create a buzz, because this is something so profound. It will influence the minds of a lot of other scholars, both students and scientists in the country, because some of them will quote your assignments in their work. And we will try to put all the links together in some Techpedia site so that people can find all of them titled at least at one place. So It will be very, very, I can say, sharing very nice, very nice. So Sharika, happy that you will do. I'm not rushing you to do it tomorrow, but do it in coming few days, and do send me the link of your assignments so that I can create buzz about your work in whichever discipline it is. And that is a culture. We will try to bring about a small cultural revolution where our scholars will try to share. And you know what? Those who share become leaders. Those who don't become followers. Isn't it true? If you look at number of citations in your papers, Western citations, and let's say South Asian citation or Southeast Asian citation, isn't it true that the Western citations will dominate? Do you agree? Anybody?
Hello, sir.
Is it true that the Western citations will dominate in your writings, in your papers, in your assignments? Is it true? Am I right?
Hello, sir.
No or yes?
Hello.
Bolo.
Yes, I'm saying that I will certainly prefer to put my research work in open access. I will not go because it will help other people to learn each and everything which I have learned through a lot of years. So I will certainly do open access.
What's the name? I'm not able to see your name.
Sir, I'm Anil.
Anil. Now, Anil Bhushan.
Yes.
Okay. I'm also saying
Yes,
one
sir.
more question. I'm asking one more question.
Yes,
When
sir.
you write your papers, is it true, Anil, that Western references are more than the South Asian or Southeast Asian references or African references? Is it true?
Sometimes it happens, but sir, there are requirement as well. If the particular work is going on our area, Western world is not doing on those particular plants or something, then we have to move to Chinese publication or Asian publication. That is.
No, I agree. I completely agree that what I was trying to imply, that if you share more, then people will cite your work more. If people cite your work more, you might become leader. I'm not saying you will become leader, but you might become a leader, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Certainly.
So I would wish that your H index of all of you goes up, because you could share on academia.edu also later on, and ResearchGate, and of course your blog at wherever you are doing, WordPress or Blogspot or whatever. But the point
if I have assignment, then certainly I will share that. All the assignment which I made through my knowledge and which I will learn, I will make and share it as well.
Wonderful. Now let me share with you an innovation playground. I hope, have I discussed this before? Anyone remembers it? No, then I'll explain. So innovation playground is an open innovation playground. There are two dimensions of it: inside out, outside in. So how much I want to share with others, that is inside out. If you are a company, you are a lab, you have a group. How much you want to learn from outside, that is outside in. So outside in, inside out, high, low, high, low. So if both are low, that means I don't want to learn from others and I don't want to share with others. I'm like an ostrich. Such organizations and such individuals are doomed. There is no future for them. There is no future. Shikha, very nice. I saw your blog. I will see your blog, and that's a very powerful thing that you're doing. So ostrich are those who are not willing to share, not willing to learn. Now, next we go to sponge. Their inside out is low. They don't share with others. Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, large corporations. But they are very willing to learn from outside. They do crowdsourcing. They give, Centive is a platform. Some of you must have seen that, where they issue challenges and you can bid for them. And if your challenge is accepted, your solution is accepted, they pay you whatever amount. But they don't tell you what that company or that organization which put the challenge there made, how much money they made out of it. They don't tell you. So your confidence in your idea may go up if you knew that what you got paid for as $10,000 actually made $10 million for the company. They don't give you that. So they're like a sponge. Then there are some pollinators. Their outside in is low. They are leaders. They're far ahead of others, like Tesla. But inside out is low. Inside out is high, outside in is low. They are Tesla made, Elon Musk made all the patents on battery open. You might say, but we were told that intellectual property is essential to grow. And why will this company, the richest man of the world, why would they share their patents? Because, can anybody tell me why did they share? Anybody knows the reason? Somebody in the energy or transportation or public policy? Yeah.
सर टू मतलब कि जैसे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल उसका टारगेट है एलॉन मस्क का, वो आगे जाए इलेक्ट्रिकल टेक्नोलॉजी, तो उसने जितने भी पेटेंट्स थे अपने इलेक्ट्रिकल टेक्नोलॉजी पे ओपन कर दिए, ताकि सिर्फ उसकी कंपनी चाहे जिस मर्जी मार्केट वैल्यू पे आगे जाए, मगर एज सच जो मार्केट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की मार्केट है वो ज्यादा बढ़ सके।
नहीं, लेकिन उसको फायदा क्या था? उसने क्यों किया ऐसा? उसका भी फायदा था ना इसमें। क्या फायदा था
इसमें? ये एक फायदा हो सकता है कि जो उसकी अपनी, जिस वक्त उसने ये लॉन्च पेटेंट्स ओपन किए, तब इलेक्ट्रिकल मार्केट उतनी ज्यादा बड़ी नहीं थी। आज तो
ठीक है, मार्केट बढ़ाना चाहता था, लेकिन मार्केट क्यों बढ़ाना चाहता था? क्या क्रिटिकल फैक्टर क्या था? एक फैक्टर बताओ ना जिसकी वजह से उसका भी बिजनेस ग्रो करेगा। अगर
रॉयल्टी सर,
हाँ,
रॉयल्टी
नहीं, ओपन कर दिया तो रॉयल्टी कैसे आएगी?
सर मैं बताऊं?
हाँ बताओ।
Actually, there are certain problems in energy for the storage and batteries, which he is not able to solve yet. So he has made all his research public, so that if anybody has any other idea, overall the technology will grow, and then only he will be able to move forward, because he is first in the business.
He's so far ahead of the others.
Yeah,
you know
others
that
cannot catch up with him, but whatever the others will do will help his company.
But that he didn't have to open that. But that was not the main reason. The main reason was that for growth of electric vehicles, you need charging stations, right? At different intervals. Now, nobody may set up charging station only for Tesla's car. So if there are more manufacturers, yes, Ashish, are you going to say the same thing?
Yes, sir.
So if you make more, if you set up, if more companies come in the market, then the charging station person will get more consumer for charging station, charging electrical vehicles.
His cars will be having more market.
Correct. And then his market will also grow. But nobody will set up charging station only for him. Nobody creates petrol pump only for one make of car, isn't it?
Correct.
So same as, so therefore, this is a very foresightful argument in favor of open innovation. One of the remarkable example of how in a highly competitive world, somebody shares the patents to essentially expand the market, so that one of the critical input, which is charging station, they expand at different intervals so that more people. IBM also had put a lot of their patents under $1 licensing. Their reason was that if something we couldn't find any use for, let us find out who else can find a use for. So the $1 was only to find that person who wanted to use that. And that was a discovery prize that you were paying, just $1. You could license that. And it was very interesting because IBM is one of the highest filer of patents in the world among all the large corporations. So it was a very positive step. So what I'm trying to say, I did a study of CSIR 9,000 patents of CSIR just last year. I downloaded all the patents with the help of one of my former students, two of my former students, Zaigam Khan and Devika Patel. They are now in US. Both of them during the weekends did work, the database of 9,000 patents. Any one of you wants to work with me on that, you are welcome to have access to that. And the purpose was to see, we took a case of water filter technology. And we found there were about, I think, 10 or 11 labs which had done something at some time on filter technology. There were some who filed 4 patents, somebody filed 6 patents. Some had become, of course, expired, some had expired. But if you ask, if you go to the market, you can't find one water filter which is a robust design, pulling the best of what different labs have done and disseminated by, let's say, some company and or large. Is there a water filter known by that, by your technology? No. Correct? But labs have done very good work. So now I'm saying openness to collaboration. That if you open and collaborate among the lab itself first, then with the large number of other people outside the labs, we could develop a robust technology. In certain areas like water is a lifeline. Without water, we cannot live. And large 40% people today in our country can't have clean water. So naturally, it's a national priority. For such areas where there is a huge national need or global need, we have to work collaboratively. And obviously, the protection would not help us to collaborate. Now comes the fourth one. Inside out is high and outside in is high. That means I'm willing to learn a lot from others. I'm also willing to share a lot with others. And that, I would say, happens when people have deep thinking. Dil bada, dimag bada. सही है? हैं? दिल भी बड़ा होना चाहिए, दिमाग भी बड़ा होना चाहिए. तब तो आपको डर नहीं लगेगा शेयर करने में. अरे कोई और मेरा काम को ले जाएगा. कोई नहीं लेता भाई. और ले जाएगा तो ले जाने दो यार. तुम्हारे पास कोई एक ही आइडिया है. The more people share what your work is, more ideas you will get, and you will be able to grow further. So it is very important that we realize the value of what open innovations can do, and I'll give you many examples today. So what did we do? We created this portal with the Honeybee Network, created this portal through one of our institutions, and it has more than 200,000 engineering projects by 550,000 students. All of you can access it freely. You are doing some work, you want to find out what other students have done, just go and search. Open access, no registration required, no password required. One. Second, we made another database recently, just last year, or maybe early this year. With the help of two alumni, as I mentioned, Zygam and Devika, we pulled 0.9 million abundant US patents. jan.org/patent.php or techpedia.in/patent. 0.9 million abundant. What is the meaning of abundant? They were granted. Fees was not paid again for them to renew. Therefore, they got abundant. Now, why would we do that? What will I gain out of this? Blessings, goodwill, happiness. If something of this helps your research and you send me a mail, sir, we found very interesting 5 patents in this, which we are going to use in our work, and they will speed up our research. You cannot take away that happiness I will feel on that moment, isn't it? I'll feel so good about it because all this effort that these, and why did these students do it? They said, sir, because they had taken my course on IPR in IMA, they were from IIM Nagpur. At that time, we were mentoring that institute. So those students used to come to Ahmedabad to take this course. And both of them did very well in my class. So they said, sir, give us a challenge, one of your desires that you have not fulfilled, and we'll do it on our weekends. They were working in companies. Earlier in India, now Zygam has gone, Devika had earlier gone to US. And out of goodwill, out of respect for a teacher, they did it for a common cause, for common good. It is open access to anybody in the US. Even in US, you don't have a database of this kind. You can't find the projects done by the students of Stanford and MIT at one place. But at techpedia.in, you can find projects of IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay. There are not as many of CSIR lab because they have not uploaded or they have not shared much. But if you do that, I'll be very happy to upload. So what I'm trying to show, and then there's another database which Gyan did with UNDP, grid.undp.org.in. It's an open database, innovations for grassroots, innovations from grassroots. Anyone can access. Last year, we got 8,000 queries. 8,000 people visited it, and we got a large number of queries. People who wanted to get in touch with the innovator. They're happy and from around the world, open access. So there are a large number of databases on common property resources, on medicinal plant. The medicinal plant database that we have at honeybee.org is in 4 languages, Tamil, Hindi, Gujarati, and English. And what do we have special in that? And I would like to ask again, students from IIM, from CIMAP, from CDRI, from IHBT, from NBRI. Do you have any database of medicinal plant where uses of the same plant for agriculture, for animal, veterinary science, veterinary applications, and human application are given at one place. Is there any database of this kind? Anybody? Where all the three uses of same plant have been given together. बताइए भाई कोई है? But if you go, I hope it is working. Let me show you. honeybee.org. So let's look at database, medicinal plant database. Let me try to put it in Hindi. I don't know if it is working. So, for example, this is at the moment working in Gujarat. Sorry, it is Gujarati. Let me change the language. So this is in Hindi. And let's see. So Trigonella, Sanskrit name, botanical name, human medicinal usage, veterinary medicinal usage, and agricultural usage and other usage. Description, habitat, rainfall, harvest, chemical composition, and some references on that. And this reference is from National Institute of Science Communication. There's a paper, Wealth of Asia, long time ago. It was published during British time and then republished in 1998. Now, this knowledge is available freely. Nobody has to pay anything in 4 languages. So why would we do that? Because we wanted to more and more people to see the larger context of ecosystem. Same plant is used by animal healers, by human healers, by farmers, and of course some are used by the textile industry for making dye. So yes, Aman, I just shared this. You go to honeybee.org. Once again, I'll show you. No, wait a minute. You can, this is the one. So if you go to, this is the one. So you go to medicinal plant database here, and then you can search the language, Hindi. And then if you have the keyboard of Hindi, you can type. So let's say if I type ka, it should come in Hindi, it should come in Hindi. And you will find these plants on Hindi. So hemp, mango, anantamul, and then you will find the database in Hindi where human uses are given of this plant, Pallophora indica, and veterinary uses are given. Sometimes the agricultural uses are also given if they are available. In this case, it may not be available. Habitat is given, regional distribution is given, global distribution is given. In Ceylon, in Moluccas, which country it is found. Pest diseases are given, chemical composition is given, and some references are given. So this is very simple, honeybee.org. Let me give you the link. All these are open databases. The reason I'm showing you all this is because I'm telling you that Honeybee Network has been trying to propagate open innovation for a long time, for more than 3 decades. And probably we are one of the largest provider of, where is the chat? Let me see. Let me stop it. And let me put on the chat. So you can find here, you can go to honeybee.org/plant, or just go to the left-hand side and take the plant database, and you will be able to. Honeybee.org, let me write down. That's our plant database. This is the, and then you can choose the language. This is the database, plantdb.php. So the reason I'm mentioning all these examples is that openness may not give you financial return possible. That I agree. But they help knowledge grow. When you help knowledge grow, Indirectly, you get benefit. You can learn more, find more discoveries, more collaboration, more partnerships. More people will share, and that is the advantage. Ashish had shared the design of seat belt. That was shared, which everybody can use freely, and of course it had. So there are many examples of. You will have to discover these examples. When we decide, when we share ourselves into group. But let me come back to the. So let's go further. Let's go further and see what kind of. So what are open innovations? They're open to share, open to seek, open to blend, open to build, open to explore, open to create. There are whole range of openness. And in literature, you will find muddy references where a lot of people have restricted, they have included even licensing as open. I don't accept that. My argument of openness is open and reciprocal, where I'm able to explore these innovations. I'm able to use these innovations. I'm able to build upon them. I'm able to blend them. Those to me are really open innovations. And I have published a paper on theory of open innovations that you can find on the net. So therefore, this is a very interesting idea. It helps in invoking the passion that we have to make the world more beautiful, the world more. We want to overcome poverty. We want to make water clean. We want to make air clean. So we have a passion for what a particular cause, but that cause cannot be achieved by me alone. I need partners. The partners will see my purpose, whether my purpose is pure, is clear. Then they will see my process, whether my process is robust. If not, they will help me to improve it. And that will lead to performance, and performance will require, of course, certain platforms. So I've shared with you various platforms that we have created for blending passion, purpose, process, and performance. This is true for all of us. All of us can do that. All of us have passion. But sometimes the blending of purpose and process gets confused. We have a good purpose, but our process becomes restrictive. Our process becomes very tight. Our process becomes very closed. So therefore, as I discussed in the first class, many times we don't even ask our lab attendants to give us feedback. We don't ask our gardener in the institute to give us feedback. We don't ask our drivers. We don't ask our sweepers to give us feedback. We think, what can they teach us? Well, they can. I gave you example of the spider's web used for coagulating the blood, for wound healing, cut for stopping the blood flow when somebody, white washerman, was cut. If I had not listened to, if I had not asked them that question, kaise aapka khoon ruk gaya? I wouldn't have learned that. I had no hesitation in learning from a white washer laborer. Why should we hesitate if there's something interesting they are doing? So it is very important that openness should be not just openness in the lab, but openness in the mind, openness in the hierarchical attitude that we have. Oh, I will learn only from other PhD students. I will learn only from the doctoral students. What can I learn from undergraduate? What can I learn from school children? What can I learn from the gardener? What can I learn from an illiterate person? Of course I can learn. Depends how keen you are and whether there is something that they have, they know, which we don't know. So then we can learn. We can certainly learn. There's a lot of scope, and we'll share that. This is one of the outcome of open innovation. So this, I think I have shared this, but I will repeat this for you. So when I saw this tree, I asked this tree a question: what happened? Why did you do this? He said, I'm not supposed to branch. I did. I made that branch a parallel stem. That was interesting. Many times, as I'm talking to you, some cells in my body are going through mutation. Thankfully, these are not cancerous. I can continue talking to you. What is happening in the process? These cells are being repaired, replaced, bypassed, rejuvenated. Something is happening in my body, which is making me deal with these mutations concurrently as I'm talking to you. So I can continue talking to you. This capacity of nature, or for that matter, any system, is called autopoiesis. Autopoiesis is self-correcting, self-designed, self-managed. If we want our society to be autopoietic society, our more and more communities, villages, cities, housing societies, localities, if they can solve their problems through their own collective genius, collective intelligence, and do experiments, they will need access to knowledge. They will need access to mentoring. And we will need a huge culture of openness to promote autopoiesis. So autopoiesis is an outcome where decentralized development that Gandhi talked about will inevitably follow. If we will not, our society will not become centralized as many of us feel that it is trying to become in some respect. It will be decentralized. Open societies are decentralized societies. Any community can decide what they want to do for themselves. And that's how the conservation of resources took place. That is how conservation of large number of water streams in the mountain took place, because a small community decides, okay, before the rainy season, all of us will gather and remove the stones in the irrigation streams so that water can flow through the Kool. Kool is that irrigation channel. In fact, some of you might know, Kohli, the caste Kohli, comes from a person who manages Kool. So Kohlis in Punjab and Himachal were Kool managers in olden time. I'm talking about hundreds of years ago. So Kool was a system, decentralized system. Every community had their own management system for water, for irrigation stream. If before the rain, if they don't clean all the stones, all the debris that has filled up in the stream from the mountain downstream, then water will not come to your terrace farm. It will spill over somewhere. So it was important that the channel should be clean, burn should be clear. So all of this got managed through autopoietic system, self-managed, self-correcting, through their own genius. They could do that. So this is an example I have shared with you, and how. Now let me show you this small video. Tell me if you are able to see that. You are able to see the video?
Yes, sir.
Look at what Jignesh Bhai has done. And this is an open innovation. And tell me what you feel about it. So do you like this?
Yes, sir.
And now tell me, how did we discover? I and along some colleagues of mine, we were coming from Gandhinagar. On the way, we saw Jignesh Bhai driving something of this kind. It was not as nice. Gyan has supported him for making a better model now. It looks much sleeker. At that time, it was a little crude. So we saw a wheelchair person going on a vehicle like this, right? So we overtook him and then asked him to stop. And then asked him, what do you do? Well, he said, look, I have to go sometime long distances. I can't go on wheelchair. So I made this, and I can go up to 30, 40, 50, 60 kilometers. Doesn't matter to me. I get down on my own. If there was a car, I would need somebody's help to put me in the car, then take me out and make me sit on the chair. All this is very costly. This is very affordable, very frugal. And of course, as you can see, if you want to make it, you can make it. He has not filed any patent on that. Open innovation. Wouldn't it make life of wheelchair-bound people better? Did you see that before? Have you seen such a device ever before, any one of you?
No, sir.
Now, question is, yes, I will come everything to your point just now. I'll come to your point, very good point that you've raised. The question Avriti has raised is that many times people may not like to share. Correct? Our experience is that if your intentions are pure and if your process is robust, for example, when we do Shodhyatras, I mentioned to you before, we go in summer to the hot places, in winter to the cold places. And that helps us to provide authenticity of our process, that our process is right. So therefore, people share. But there are cases, I would not deny, there are cases when somebody says, sir, I will tell you, but I will not tell you in the front of our villagers. So once we were in Karnataka and we said, why would you not tell us before everybody? He said, sir, actually, the plant I used is a very common plant, grows everywhere. If people know that I'm using this plant for solving this problem, they will think, oh, it is too easy. They will try it on their own. They don't know that I have to link the dosage of this plant with the degree of disease that one has. They may not know that. So either they may not have effect or they may have some harm. They will blame me. Plus, if something is commonly known, people don't value it. So what I do, I go around, I try to act as if I'm searching something, but I know that it is available nearby. So I'll bring it quietly and then process it and give it to them, and they feel good. So many times when you reveal, people respect it less. That's an unfortunate reality. Many of you, as you could see in the last class, did not respect so much the knowledge of your grandparents, which now some of you are trying to do, and we're so happy because this knowledge was available freely. Because this knowledge they would give us just by asking. We will go to a doctor and pay fees because doctor has 2 cars, we want him to have 3rd car. He has 2 houses, we want to have him 3rd house. But we won't take advice of our mother, grandmother, or our aunt. If we have a young child and she has reared many children, but we won't take her advice because we think, what does she know? Or she brought us up healthy and strong and bright. No, in her time she may have done it, but we will, on the slightest fever, we have to go to the doctor. Well, that is okay if you want to do that. But so what happens is that simplicity of the knowledge sometimes discounts its validity in our mind. I'm not saying we should not scientifically validate. We should, of course, do that. But many times, I would say most of the time, people have agreed to share. In some cases, they have said, please restrict it. 99% of the time, people did not ask us to file patent. We did file patent. We filed NIFS filed more than 1,200 patents or 1,300 patents in the name of innovators. No other name of scientist or anybody. Only name of the innovator. Money has been paid by Government of India. Public money to create private right. So this is one example where a 3-wheelchair carrier has been developed by Jignesh Bhai. His number is given here. If some of you are interested to find out more, you can talk to him. Very nice innovation. Open access can be used anywhere. And this is a way to empower. Another example of open access. In 92, Mansukh Bhai developed this. We filed a patent with the help of Gyan and certainly in 2003, licensed, transferred this technology as an open technology to Kenya. Earlier, it was a very simple design. Then it was modified. And now there are many variants of this which have come about. A motorcycle-based plowing machine. Now the question is, open design, we filed patent, but we never enforced it. Our idea was that these patents should be open. People to people, we developed a concept of technology commons. People to people copying is allowed and encouraged. People to firm through licensing. So if Mahindras want this, they will have to take a license. But if other farmers, other manufacturers want to use it, no restriction. So today there are more than 500 fabricators, more than 10,000 satis are sold every year. And this is an example of how we have been able to find so many innovations, so many. I'll give you some more examples. But the reason I'm mentioning this is that you can find a lot of people in the world who are willing to share. They're willing to share. Only thing is, are we willing to share too? I will not, if people want to keep it restricted, we should offer them IPR protection. We should offer them that we will file patent in your name. And you should show them example of what we have done. I will show you if you want to see. I can show you how many patents have been filed. And I have india.org/IPR. And all these patents have been filed in the name of grassroots innovators. So let us see. Let me show you. All these are open patents, open in the sense, no restriction for, this is a apparatus for separating plough, bird, and operation method thereof, multipurpose ladder, weeding machine and method thereof, threshing machine from Orissa, 22nd March 20, and who has helped us in filing it. All these are patents. Paddy transplanter, this has been licensed. More than 20 lakh rupees has been the signing fees. They will get 5% royalty from Faridabad. And John Deere has taken it for evaluation. Very large company, one of the first case where a large multinational company has licensed a grassroots innovation. So a lot of such examples are available here. You can go nif.org.in/IPR and you can find all these examples. So these are never enforced against fellow farmers. Farmer to farmer, not in one case have we filed any case or innovator filed any case. For self-employed farmer, it is open access. For companies, it is licensable. What do you think about this idea? For very small enterprises, micro enterprise, small enterprise, should we make certain technologies available at less cost, much less cost, and for other bigger companies at larger cost? Do you think it makes sense to open innovations like that? You know why I'm discussing this? Because you have to influence. After 20 years, you'll be heading the labs. I'm making investment in the director of a lab who would be there in the position after 20 years. 2021, 2041, you will be heading a lab. Maybe earlier than that. Some of you will be DG of CSIR or DST or DBT. And I would like you to remember this class so that you can open the knowledge for people to use and improve productivity in our society, improve jobs, create more jobs, use resources more efficiently. We must create both cultures, competitive and collaborative. Anyone will not do. We need both. We need both. So it is very important that we look at, and if time permits, I will share with you some models of network entrepreneurship, how we can bring in the openness in the entrepreneurial networks. But before that, let me go back again and show you some more examples. Okay. So this was a very interesting example of open innovation. An innovation scouted by Sundaramji. He got Padam Shri this year. And Yusuf Sikar, from Sikar district, Yusuf, developed a groundnut digger. In Visakhapatnam, somebody said, why can't I make a sea beach cleaner? What does it do? It picks up the pod, stirs them, the soil falls down, the pod remains in the mesh on the net. For sea beach, what do? I pick up the sand, the debris should remain on the net, in the sea. Sand should fall down. From Rajasthan, the idea went to Visakhapatnam because we were sharing this idea openly. That's why this could happen. So you fertilize imagination, you fertilize creativity with open innovation. You help people to imagine better, more, and ideas application which you cannot imagine, somebody can find. That's the power of open innovation. Look at what this girl did. We organized a competition in Gandhinagar district. 5,000 entries came. Chaya Thakur got an award. In schools, we saw these water pipes are at a horizontal level. So this little girl, she was a tiny girl. She couldn't reach there. And then, they have to wait for someone else to come and give the water, fill the glass of water or something. What did she do? She said, why don't you tilt the pipe? Smaller kids can drink water from here, taller from here, taller from here, taller from here, taller from here. And I must tell you, we are as much guilty as anybody else because we were staying in the schools during our Shodhyatra for 20 years. We were witnessing this problem and we did not think of the solution. I have children and they were young kids years ago, 20, 25 years ago, or 30 years ago, and they had faced the same problem and I didn't think about it. So so I'm telling you self-critically that inertia can be in all of us. I also had this inertia. I didn't think about it, but she did. So I invited her as a visiting faculty to ACSIR class. Can you believe it? If you want, I can invite her to the next class. Talk to her. Find out how did she do that. So I invited her to my class and I said, look, my students are very good in analyzing problems. They can also generate some solutions, but they don't implement them. Because she got it implemented in her school. She was at that time in class 7. Today, she must be in 9th or 10th. 3 years ago, it happened. Good idea. We can share it. Anybody can use it. No problem. Look at this. Another example of open innovation. So in school, we found it in Jharkhand, not too far away from about 50, 60 kilometers from Ranchi. So one person will pump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids can drink water. छोटे बच्चे हैं, कई बार बड़े बच्चे बुली करते हैं छोटे बच्चों को, पीने नहीं देते पानी, आधा घंटे की रिसर्च है, नहीं मिलता पानी, बच्चे बेचारे प्यासे रह जाते हैं. Now they will all get a chance. By and by, turn by turn, different kids will pump, other kids will drink. It will generate collaboration. Hardly it costs 400 rupees. Anybody can copy it. मुश्किल तो नहीं है ये. A lot of such innovations take place. And why should we share them openly? So anybody can copy them. Please copy them. Distribute. In your village, if it's not there, tell them that they can use it. Another example, I think I shared it before, I'm not sure. In Rajasthan, anywhere else for that matter, if you take water from the hand pump, hand cannot hold the entire water. So 2 of innovators, Swayambhu Sharma and a student of my class. Yes?
Sir, kindly share the screen.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't share the screen. I'm so sorry. Oh,
Thank you, sir. No problem.
you should have told me. So you didn't see the previous one also?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This one you saw.
Yes, sir.
This was the one that, this was the one from Rajasthan to Visakhapatnam. A grounded digger and cleaner, and it was being used for sea beach cleaning. Pick up the sand. Debris will stay in the sea. And this was the one that I was telling you about the Chaya Thakur, a little girl who thought of how these small kids can drink water when pipes are in horizontal mode, drinking water pipe. So she said, why don't you tilt them? Smaller kids can drink here and so on. And I invited her to my class as the youngest visiting faculty. She was the youngest visiting faculty in my class. And then, of course, this is the one I was showing. Please. So, Mehak, aapka mic maine band kar diya. So, this is the case where I was just talking about that one person will pump the water, 7 kids. So 7 kids can drink water. Hardly cost 400 rupees. And then I was sharing about this one, that this probably I shared before, I'm not sure, that the conventional design of hand pump, you can't drink, the water overflows. So 2 innovators, Swayambhu and Pankaj, and another student, Chandan Agrawal, they suggested some modification. So you have a small pipe for drinking, bigger pipe for filling bucket, and if some water overflows, the kettle can drink. So inclusiveness, openness and inclusiveness, not just for human beings, but also non-human sentient beings, even for animals, for birds, for squirrels, for cattle. So these are all examples of, and then these are cross-cultural innovations. Now here from Tehran, Anamika had gone to Tehran and she found there how they roast the corn. हमारे यहाँ तो कोयले होते हैं, उसके ऊपर हम भूनते हैं. Here you can roast them with the skin on in these small trays. And if there are more people, you can roast more. Good idea, isn't it? In India, we need this innovation. भुट्टे जिनको खाने एक साथ खाने में तो बहुत देर लग जाती है, क्या करके भूनते हैं, और नहीं तो वो बना के रखता है तो ठंडे हो जाते हैं, फिर मजा नहीं आता उसमें. Here you will all get fresh. And one can get almost 6 into 5 shells, 30 people can get at the same time. You can serve more customers at the same time. Demand will go up. Very practical idea, but we didn't develop this. In India, we have never seen that device as a street vendor will have it. Tehran में है, तो सीखने में क्या दिक्कत है? And another example, what Namika had brought, that if you have, this is the conventional gas burner, and with this, you have more heat with less gas. Good idea. Outa, we had given an award, we had organized a global competition. And he said that if you put lantana leaves in between the slices of cassava, the shelf life goes up. No pest attack. Simple ideas. So we can learn from Uganda, from Tehran, from other countries. Here is an example. We have a very strong network in China. So a Chinese farmer who's a Zen made a boat into a car. He had to cross a lake before he would go to the market. An Indian innovator tried to convert car into boat. Very costly end of the problem. This is very frugal end of the problem. Open innovation means learning across the civilizations, learning across the world, not just in India. Here is a case where both Chinese and Indian innovators have discovered similar solutions. They have used cycle for hoeing, weeding. Gopal Bhai has developed in Maharashtra cycle as a weeder, and many people use it now. It has diffused widely. Simple idea. It's affordable. And around the world, people are struggling to find the same solution. Open innovation means my solution can reduce your transaction cost. You don't have to rediscover the wheel. You go beyond what I've done. Make it better. So there are different solutions that we have discussed. This I don't know if I mentioned to you. I think I mentioned this. A walker, which Shalini had suggested, where the legs become taller when you come down and become shorter when you go up. And it has been licensed to a company. Such walkers don't exist anywhere in the world. Europe, US don't have these walkers. A child gave the idea. Now, if you say, sir, but I'm not willing to learn from a child. I'm grown up. Well, it's your wish. We didn't have any hesitation in learning from children. We gave them awards. This was in 2006. I had gone to Malaysia. And mind you, this kid was ahead of the time, 3 years. 2009, first time the cell phone came, which had a camera. Here he had an idea. Nasruddin bin Abdul Aziz. Can we convert a Swiss knife into a projector? We published that in Honeybee newsletter. Just imagine. Isn't it great? This kid could imagine what market took 3 more years. 2009, first time a cell phone with a projector came in the market, which we bought because we want to show the others, we want to take it. I don't know how many of you have seen such cell phones, but there are there. This was being thought in 2006. We had organized on-the-spot idea competition, and the children could come out with this. So please understand, sometimes there is no harm in talking to children about your problems, and they might come out with solutions. This, I think I shared with you. Many of us are not sitting properly. Our posture is not correct. So Kulsum Rizvi, Tarun, and many others gave idea that if you don't sit properly, the screen will go blank and message will come, sit properly, I will not let you do work. Or chair will start singing. Good idea. Again, solution coming from children. This has not become a product. If some of you want to make it a product, please do it. It's an open invitation to all of you, particularly students from electronics, physics, mechanical background. If you can integrate a sensor which analyzes my posture, if it is not proper, gives me a feedback so that I don't have pain in my lower back. This is an example of a student like you. So this Anuradha, Dr. Suman Kapoor's student from BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus for urinary tract infection. There are about, I think, 12 different organisms. Unless you know which one has caused the infection, you would not be able to use the right antibiotic. Here you put it, and in 4 hours, you find out which organism has affected you, as against 48 or 72 hours that it takes conventionally, and very low cost. A product made by a student like you. And she was invited to be a resident scholar at Rashtrapati Bhavan for 2 weeks. So Shivani, Anuradha, Padmavati, Professor Suman Kapoor's student. Look at that. So I brought some examples of different kinds where this is a herbal pesticide, different kinds of things. So let me stop here and ask you, what are the 3 central arguments that you have made so far? Anybody, please summarize. What are the 3 key points that you've got so far? Different dimensions of one innovation. What have you found? What have you captured? You can type on the chat also. Yes, Rupali. Go ahead, Rupali, if you want to say something. What are the lessons you're drawing? I mean, you may have drawn some lessons which I have not even thought about, but why not? Tell me. What are the 3 or 4 key points that you found worthwhile? Prashant, Krishna, Anand.
Sir, if knowledge is available openly,
Yes.
then people can start from the point where other person has left the problem unsolved, or at a very like a primitive stage. The other person can start from that level and try to improve it. So open access can help in improving the already existing stages of the solutions that were available for problems that were existing for many years.
So open access can help existing solutions grow further and faster, correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. That's nice. And Aswati has said that knowledge is not just to gain, but also share. I agree. Innovation make life of sufferers easy. Yes. So if I can reword it, open innovations empower people to be autonomous and self-reliant. Is that right? Is that what you wanted to say, Renuka? Is it a good summary? Good reinterpretation of your sentence? Good ideas can come from anywhere. Did I show you a small film about good ideas can come from anywhere? Did I show you? No, I'll show you. It's just a minute-long film. That's right. Very good. I agree with Monica. Anything else? Anything else? Very good. Monica, you will now see a small film on this sentence of yours. I will show you just on this sentence. Very nice. Very nice. I'm happy that you captured it. Yes, Pranami, very correct. Very correct. Even from the children, we can learn and share with them and learn from them. Both ways, both ways, both ways. Well, you have talked about one way, but Pranami, I have given you example that where they can tell us something. They can solve a problem that we couldn't solve. I couldn't solve. Let me put it this way. Any other lesson? Differential terms of licensing. That's also a point we made, for common people, for disadvantaged people, you can have open access, but for larger corporations, you can have restricted access, so that they can, if they want to get a license in IPR, then because their competition with other large corporations, they're not worried about a small person on the street corner copying it and making his own life. They don't worry about that. They don't lose much money. They lose money if a competing company can make it and then usurp their IP. So they would rather wish that they have exclusive right, but they can give an exemption to small self-employed people. They will not proceed against them if they want to use it. That would be a revolutionary concept. Sometimes it is called as, in literature, we call it Creative Commons, but in hardware, this can be called as a Creative Commons. All right. Let me show you now a small film on simple idea that good ideas can come from anywhere. If I didn't show you, I should show you. Okay. Let me share this.
For the past 5 years, I've been investigating this question of where good ideas come from.
Yeah.
It's the kind of problem I think all of us are intrinsically interested in. We want to be more creative. We want to come up with better ideas. We want our organizations to be more innovative. I've looked at this problem from an environmental perspective. What are the spaces that have historically led to unusual rates of creativity and innovation? And what I've found in all of these systems, there are these recurring patterns that you see again and again that are crucial to creating environments that are unusually innovative. One pattern I call the slow hunch, that breakthrough ideas almost never come in a moment of great insight, in a sudden stroke of inspiration. Most important ideas take a long time to evolve, and they spend a long time dormant in the background. It isn't until the idea has had 2 or 3 years, sometimes 10 or 20 years to mature, that it suddenly becomes accessible to you and useful to you in a certain way. And this is partially because good ideas normally come from the collision between smaller hunches, so that they form something bigger than themselves. So you see a lot in the history of innovation, cases of someone who has half of an idea. There's a great story about the invention of the World Wide Web and Tim Berners-Lee. This is a project that Berners-Lee worked on for 10 years. But when he started, he didn't have a full vision for this new medium he was going to invent. He started working on one project as a side project to help him organize his own data. He scrapped that after a couple years, and he started working on another thing. And only after about 10 years did the full vision of the World Wide Web come into being. That is, more often than not, how ideas happen. They need time to incubate, and they spend a lot of time in this partial hunch form. The other thing that's important when you think about ideas this way, in this hunch state, they need to collide with other hunches. Oftentimes, the thing that turns a hunch into a real breakthrough is another hunch that's lurking in somebody else's mind. And you have to figure out a way to create systems that allow those hunches to come together and turn into something bigger than the sum of their parts. That's why, for instance, the coffee house in the Age of Enlightenment, or the Parisian salons of wine, such engines of creativity, because they created a space where ideas could mingle and swap and create new forms. When you look at the problem of innovation from this perspective, it sheds a lot of important light on the debate we've been having recently about what the internet is doing to our brains. Are we getting overwhelmed with an always connected, multitasking lifestyle? And is that going to lead to less sophisticated thoughts as we move away from the slower, deeper, contemplative state of reading, for instance? Obviously, I'm a big fan of reading, but I think it's important to remember that the great driver of scientific innovation and technological innovation has been the historic increase in connectivity and our ability to reach out and exchange ideas with other people, and to borrow other people's hunches and combine them with our hunches and turn them into something new. That really has, I think, been, more than anything else, the primary engine of creativity and innovation over the last 600 or 700 years. And so, yes, it's true we're more distracted. But what has happened that is really miraculous and marvelous over the last 15 years is that we have so many new ways to connect and so many new ways to reach out and find other people who have that missing piece that will complete the idea we're working on, or to stumble serendipitously across some amazing new piece of information that we can use to build and improve our own ideas. That's the real lesson of where good ideas come from, that chance favors the connected mind.
Just remove this and then start playing again. So, was it Monica who wrote about good ideas can come from anywhere? Who was it?
Yes, sir, it was me, Monica.
So, how do you like it?
It was really good, sir. Good to know that, like, if we combine all of the ideas, if I will discuss my idea with other person, so maybe when we all will sit together and discuss each other's ideas, maybe we can come with a new idea, which can provide a solution to a bigger problem.
You know, there is a very interesting way in which one innovator, Jina Bhai, he had developed a lot of technologies for pomegranate in a border village of India but in a Banaskantha district. So we had given him an honor in our 2019 conference. We have now, the 5th conference will be in 2023, International Conference on Creativity and Innovation at Grassroots. So ICCIG4 was in 2019. And in 2019, we had invited him in the plenary session along with other innovators, and he gave a very nice analogy. He said, if you have one pomegranate and I have one pomegranate, and we share or we exchange, we still have only one. You have an apple and I have pomegranate. I give you one pomegranate, you give me one apple. I have not two ideas, two fruits. And he said, that's the beauty. If your idea is different from mine, and you share with me, and I share with you, we have more ideas. It is such a colloquial way of putting it, but so nice. But then still, but why are we so secretive, Monica? Why don't we share more? You agree that we are a little bit more secretive as a culture?
Yes, sir.
Why are we so secretive? What is the fear we have?
So I don't know exactly the reason why we are like that, but maybe it may be because some people might think that our idea is not that good. It may be.
Anybody else sharing? Why do you think we are so secretive? Why don't we share openly? Or is it not true that we actually share more openly? Is that what your view is?
Sir, I don't think so कि हर कोई हर चीज बताता है आज के टाइम में. Maybe some people might want to keep it secure. जो पेरेंट्स अगर घर के कुछ आइडियाज या घर के कुछ रेसिपीज, let's say example, अगर कुछ रेसिपीज है, so maybe they want to patent it, something like that. But yes,
I think people are so secretive because they fear of losing the novelty.
Now look at this way, that if by just listening to your idea, can I publish a research paper? It will take time for me to do that research, isn't it? Which you have already done. So if I listen to you, sometimes I can agree with you that there are people who may misutilize. So I was giving a talk at MIT many years ago. There were students sitting there, and I gave them an example of Kanak Das from Guwahati. Kanak Das from 60 kilometers away from Guwahati, a village. He had developed a cycle which will run faster on an uneven road, because the more bumps it had, the shock absorber will convert the energy from the bumps into propulsion. So that's what this cycle was. Very interesting idea of using the energy from the bumps, the jumping that takes place, and convert that into propulsion. It will move through the gears. It will make cycle move faster. So this kid heard it in my class. And then after a few months, he filed a patent on energy generation from shock absorbers in automobile. So I wrote to him. He said, sir, yes, we got the idea. But then immediately his IP manager of MIT said, no, you are not supposed to talk anything about this. Keep quiet. And what could I do? I just forgave him. But at the same time, I put a footnote in a paper I wrote on inclusive innovations for sustainable development in a encyclopedia of innovations. And I put in the footnote this entire incident, which I did share with my friends, professors in Sloan School and MIT, but somehow they were also helpless. So I mentioned this as an example that this was not a good practice. That a student should have acknowledged. I'm not saying you could not have done that. You can do it, but acknowledge. If you acknowledge personal communications, what is lost in it? I'm not asking you to give royalty to Kanak Das because we have shared it openly. So you are not
I have another question.
Yes.
So why do you become your own prior art if you publish your invention before filing the patent?
That's right. So when you publish your own invention before filing the patent, it becomes a prior art, and you cannot publish on it. Publish the same thing as you have disclosed.
So I cannot share if I want to have a patent on it. And my
Correct.
reason for having a patent may be
correct. So the idea is you file a provisional patent, which doesn't take more than an hour. It gives you 1 year priority. A provisional patent gives you 1 year priority. It doesn't give you protection but priority. Then you file full specifications, and your patent will be valid from the date you file the provisional application. And then now you can publish and you can share. So patent, publish, share. No problem with that. And patents can be both offensive and defensive. Offensive means you want to license them for a commercial return. Defensive means you want to make them open, but you don't want somebody else to monopolize that. That's called defensive patent. So you have not filed patent because somebody else, so because you don't want to share it and other people know. So I'm saying in some cases, patents have a place. I'm not denying that. But in those cases, I'm suggesting that we could have differential terms of licensing for small entrepreneurs and for large companies. So let's say if you have filed a patent, fine, good enough. We have filed patents, as I showed you just now, 1,200 cases. But we will not enforce them against fellow farmers or fellow artisans. And we are sharing them widely. So if some farmer, some artisan wants to copy the technology, by all means do it. Right to life should take precedence over right to property. That's our belief. In Honeybee Network, we argue that you have a right to life first. Zinda nahi rahoge to phir property kya karoge? So you have a right to life, and the right to property must be subsidiary to that. But we don't deny the fact that you can file patents. But at the same time, there is a lot of knowledge that we have. All of that knowledge is not patentable. A lot of this knowledge can be shared widely. Yes, Ashish?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I would like to add that it is not like that whatever we are doing, everything we are doing is to only earn profits from it. That is the basic difference that we are always forgetting. We really should have be thinking firstly about giving something back to the society rather than just filing the patents and everything like that. But somehow the thing is that nowadays the confidence is so low that we feel that this might be the only idea that comes out of us. So that is why people don't want to share anything.
That's right. Many of you have mentioned this point that there is an insecurity. I will again repeat that you can still publish a good paper. You can still file a patent. Only precaution should be taken that if you are filing patent, then you first file an application, get 1 year time, so that even if you have shared in that 1 year, you can still find provisional application, full-fledged specification, and then you publish. No problem. So you don't have to wait for the grant of the patent for publishing this. After filing full specifications, and you can ask, request for examination can be expedited, so you can have your application published not after 18 months, but after maybe 2 months. I know of an innovator in Jaipur, one of a grassroots innovator, he got patent in 1 year, unprecedented, for an assistive device for workers. So workers who do work on the assembly line and they need a gear because they have to bend all the time. So he devised some support system for ankles and back, so that when you bend many times, the strain does not come on the body, but the attachment will take away the strain. So that is and he got patent within 1 year, one of the unique cases. So there are possibilities of expediting the patent by filing for request of examination faster and getting faster publication. But the point is not that. The point is, as Ashish mentioned, that out of 10 ideas that I have, maybe 1 is worth patenting, 9 as worth sharing. Share them. I don't mind if you keep 1 for patenting application and then you share it afterward. That's okay. But is that only idea that I have? No. So please, there is a point Digvijay has raised that that's a good point, and I will answer that question because it's a very interesting question that you have raised. We have many learnings in our field work about a problem that I'm going to mention, very, very socially sensitive problem. But please understand why I'm sharing it. I'm sharing the problem. I'm not going to tell you the solution. The problem is feticide, female feticide. You know that the regions of our country which are economically advanced, for example, Ludhiana, Amritsar, Punjab, Karnal, Kurukshetra in Haryana, Anand in Gujarat. Similarly, such regions all over the country, which are more prosperous, have more adverse gender ratio. Did you know that? Without exception, you pick up any district which is prosperous in any state and contrast it with the less developed district, and you will find this pattern, that more the development, higher the adversity of gender ratio. Now, there are many ways in which this is done, and I'm not going to mention that. And they have not included that in our publication, and we will not share it. You are right, Digvijay, that sharing such information might give ideas to others who may not know that, and unwittingly we may become participant in a crime. So we should not do that. So these are exceptional cases, and I'm happy that you mentioned this. There are certain categories under which any solution or any innovation or any practice which can do damage to the environment or to the life or to the safety and security of people or to the wildlife or to the nature, we will not share that. We will not share that. But if I know it, it is useful for me to know how people do that, so that I can, in my educational programs, I can try to overcome that mentality which produces this kind of action. So there are many practices that I know. Many, many practices that mother-in-laws or mothers may use it. Unfortunately, very unfortunate, very, very tragic. But the point is, that information will be put in our database? No, we will not put. Will we share? We will not share. So there are exceptions. I agree. Good that you mentioned, Digvijay. I appreciate your point, that we will not share things that can do damage. In fact, in the patent law also, there is an exception allowed for certain strategic purposes. We can grant patent but not publish it because it can fall into wrong hands. So there is a point that you are mentioning, and I completely concede your point, And I also go further than that yes, we have to use our judgment, ethical judgment, moral judgment. But that is an exceptional case. 9 out of 10 times I would go for sharing. And if I'm publishing, if I'm, for example, your assignments, as we discussed earlier, they will remain your assignment. You are the author. But if you're not going to publish your assignment as a journal article, which you can do if you wish to, but if you're not going to do them, share them on the blog. What's the harm? So please understand that the technologies that are possible for application in society, we are talking about societal application. If they're shared widely, the societal application can increase. There's somebody from Ministry of Petroleum here. Anybody from IIP? Dr. Anjan Ray and his colleagues developed a very interesting technology which can improve the efficiency of Khansari units. You know, there are 3 different pans, open pan, where sugarcane juice is processed. And he showed me how much of carbon generated can be reduced by using that modified technology. And they created 2 or 3 examples. There are hundreds and thousands of Khansari units in UP and Maharashtra. How do we reach them? 1, we can share it openly. 2, we can do large scale demonstration rather than 2, 3. We can do 30, 40, 50. There are no funds for that, unfortunately. 3rd, we can create policy by which it becomes obligatory for every Khansari unit to use this technology, otherwise they will not get license. So coercive means. 4th, we organize the meeting with the associations and persuade them that, look, this is in their interest and this is the payback period of this technology. In 4 years, you will get it back, or 3 years, you will recover the cost, etc., etc. But if it is just publish, patent is filed, it goes to 1 or 2 units, what have we done? Tell me. Have we solved the problem? Out of 9,000 patents which I have downloaded for CSIR, very few have been commercialized, around 9%. That is the commercialization rate of CSIR. So 91% patents have not been commercialized. And and many of them are abundant because you don't maintain them when there is no commercial inquiry for them. What do? So I argued, I have talked to Shekhar and suggested that why don't you make an open database of technologies of CSIR? Make it available openly. When you assess that first 5 years, you are not getting any query, why hold on to it? Make it open. Let anybody come and use it. In fact, incentivize people that if there is a group of people who come to use it, we will organize a program for them, training program for them, very nominal fees to give know-how also. So why I'm suggesting is that by holding on to the solutions, we are impeding the growth of our society. And please understand that a lot of spillover technologies from the space program have changed the life of people. Hindalium, a material of which the vessels are used by the poorest people, you know, aluminum alloy. Hindalium, the cheapest pans and pots that you get are of hindalium. That came from the space program. A spillover effect. NASA will put down, if you write on the search, if you search, just show me, let me show you. Why would they do that? So, open innovation at NASA. Let me show you that. November 20. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Competitions, agency, industry, academia. So they work and they developed through open innovation, they're trying to expand it. So this is not something that we are going to catch on now. The world is changing. The whole world is changing. NASA open innovation initiatives, Centennial challenges, tournament lab, international space applications, student challenges, citizen science, NASA at work, and there are different kinds of solutions that they share and people can use. They have organized competitions. I'll give you an example after we have 5-minute break. $8.5 million invested in competition by allied organization. 10 million awards given by NASA for those who solved the problems that they couldn't solve internally. The scaled composites won the ACSIR-X prize for reaching the edge of space in a piloted vehicle. NASA recognized the valuable role that prize competitions could play in stimulating creative ideas. Did I tell you about Gandhiji organized a competition in 1929? Did I tell you earlier? One of the first open innovation competition for mass application in our country. Did I mention this in the earlier classes? Anybody
No, sir.
remember? No? All right. So I'll tell you that Gandhi was the first creative innovator of open innovation in our country in 1929. I will show you in a minute. So this is just about NASA, that they are trying to find solutions from our society at large, prize money, 3D printed habitat, cube quest, carbon dioxide conversion, space robotics, vascular tissue, engineering tissues, different teams. And they have given examples of these solutions that have come through this mechanism. Crowdsourcing, reaching people from outside and getting the solutions. So it is not that I'm trying to tell you something which is only for India. The world is changing all over the world. We'll have a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 7:23. Just to stretch yourself, and we will then talk about Gandhi, and if time permits, we'll also have a small group discussion. back. Let us get back. Let's get back. Please switch on your video. Please switch on your video. Please switch on your video. So I will show you now the Gandhi's give me 1 minute. Yes. So here's the story of what Gandhi did. So in 1916, you know how I did an experiment to find how much productivity comes out of a spinning wheel, charkha, purana charkha jo tha. So they found out that with 2 annas per day, poverty cannot be removed. Gandhi was very disturbed. He said, well, let's announce a competition. So 1920, he appointed a competition, February 25, 1920. And the announcement was of 5,000 rupees. They received some queries, but none of them satisfied. One was from Sialkot, now in Pakistan, Baroda. It was decided that they will give more time. They gave more time. Nothing worked out. Gandhi was very frustrated. What do I do? 1916, it was already 1927, 28. So what did he do? On 24th July, 1929, he announced a competition, open innovation challenge competition of 7,700 pound prize, 1 lakh rupees. Today, it will be more than 10 crore. We don't have a single award in this country for solving chronic problems of this size. And he gave description of what should be the boundary conditions for the solution. It must be lightweight. It really should not feel tired after 8 hours of work. It should have fine quality cloth. It should not cost more than 150 rupees. It should last for 20 years. The maintenance cost should not be more than 5% of the cost, etc., etc. And the jury included, including others, Rajgopalachari Chakravarti Rai, who was our first Governor General of India. And of course, if they can't reach a conclusion, Gandhi said, my decision will be final. This is what came out in 1931. When he was in Yerwada jail in Pune, he was using a petty charkha. 1931. 1929, he announced the award, announced. So what I'm saying that this is something which we have had. This tradition somehow stopped, and we did not continue with this tradition. But this tradition has been there with us. And Gandhi, among all, was the pioneer of seeking solutions from anybody. He made it open. You can file a patent if you wish. But if you want to get award money, you will have to transfer it to the Khadi Prayog Samiti so that we can make it open source. Open source, 1929. Look at how much of foresight he had. So what I'm discussing with you, therefore, is not something new, is not something first time. Let us do quickly. We'll spend, Anamika, can you make a group? Can we divide everybody into 10, 17, 177? So 10 groups will mean 17 each. That's okay. We can make 20 groups also. And we will spend 15 minutes. We have 7:30, nearly 7:45. And then we will ask each group to tell us a chat, put on a chat. So, Anamika, are you there? Anamika, can you divide? Let me see if I can do that. I don't know. I will try. Let me see, how do I do that? Don't go away, don't go away, don't go away, don't go away. 15 minutes of group work will be very insightful. I'm sure we will learn so much more. Let me see if we can. Breakout room, okay. Automatically, how many groups? I found it. So let us say we make 20 groups. So 20 groups. No, I'm making 20 groups, so I can find a way now to do it. I will do that. Yes, I have got it. So open. After that I press open all rooms. Open all. Now please join the rooms for which you are getting invite. Please join the group. All of you join, and the task is you have to identify open innovation example from your lab or identify open innovations from your lab, domain, or anywhere to illustrate the learning. So Jyoti, Parag, Himanshu, please join any room. If there's any problem, let me know. What is happening? Assign to room 1. I will assign. I will assign to randomly. I'm assigning randomly to all of you. Those who have not joined, I'm assigning them randomly to some rooms. Ananta, Priya, I'm assigning you to some groups. "15 minutes you have." All right, everybody has been. Shyadev. Okay. All right, we have closed the room, so in a minute, all of you will be back. And our goal was to get ideas, get examples of open innovations from you, where you could have found out solutions that either have never been patented, but they're lying in a corner of your lab, or they are useful, they were patented, but there is no inquiry for them. Ashish, I'm coming to you in a minute. Or they are patented, they may have been licensed to somebody, but that person has not made much use of it. It is very localized. The person has made maybe 5 lakh rupees worth of revenue only. It is capable of going into 50 crores if it goes to more hands. So these are some of the questions that we have. Yes, Ashish, go ahead, please. Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
The session has automatically logged me out and we could not start the session.
Now we have brought you all back here. Now we have brought you back. So can you think of something? Can you please openly volunteer and give me an example of innovations that need to diffuse widely, but they are lying locked up somewhere in the lab? Any example?
Sir, I would like to give an example.
Yeah.
One of our senior from NPL, they have developed a portable cooler.
They have developed
a portable refrigerator, which does not utilize electricity. It is a thermoplastic based some item. He has done it in, it uses the Tyler effect, and they have developed it under ACSIR-Unmet scheme itself.
Okay.
And they had submitted it, I think, 3 years back.
What happened to it?
I don't know, sir. No, I don't think it has gone to public.
So they passed out, or they are still there?
They have passed out, sir.
So can you share that
now doing research?
Because two students of my class today only in IMA in a senior course wanted to develop evaporative cooling system for vegetable cart to keep vegetables fresh. Now, I do not know how costly the one that you're talking about, but I can ask these students to explore the market demand and market feasibility for this innovation if you wish. So talk to your colleagues, and I will connect these students to whosoever is responsible for this technology, and we can get entire business plan done by my class students. That is the idea that they want to work on.
The person has moved to Germany now.
No, but that idea, is it openly available, then we can share with the classes.
It was submitted to ACSIR-800, so I think it must be with ACSIR now.
No, but I'm saying that if that student who had submitted it is willing to share it openly, then what's the problem?
I think so. He's willing to share.
So just talk to him and ask him to send it to me or you, and then I'll talk to our students. So if it goes to vegetable vendors, that is what he would wish to happen, isn't it?
Definitely, sir. Sure.
So let us try to do that.
I will find out, sir.
On this issue, let me also mention that all of you will do a project under this program. So kindly start identifying the solution that you want to develop. Ashish gave a very good example, very practical example, that if your portable cold chamber, let us say whether fridge or some other system, that would be very useful for vegetable vendors, and it can really help reduce the wastage and improve their income. Yes, Siddharth?
Yes, sir. I'm from CSR Chandigarh.
Yes.
I was involved in a group. We were developing a device for blinds so that they can read any printed documents.
Very interesting. A scanner, a converting text to speech.
Yeah, it is an inclusive device. Like it is having a portable scanner, and the device is of a size of a pencil box.
Okay.
And it is all the processing and conversion things are already embedded.
Right.
And it was we were developing it from 2016, and in 2018, it was in a shape that we could patent it.
Okay.
And also we incorporated the Indian languages in this. We started using English first.
I don't know of any scanner of Indian languages which can convert.
So you can search right away. It is Divyanan.
What is that?
Divyanan.
Spelling?
D-I-V-Y-A.
D-I?
V-Y-A.
D-I?
N-A-Y-A-N.
Sorry, write on the chat. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Write on the chat.
Okay.
Very good idea. So where is it lying now?
I'll share, sir. Yeah. We are developing one PSU unit, CEL, Central Electronics Limited, which is ACSIR unit only.
Okay.
They were associated from the headquarters to make it commercialized.
Okay.
And now CEL itself is in a dilemma of divestation, right? So they were, when they got the technology, they were asked for first pilot production of 100 pieces so that we can do some social testing and also some market penetration. So we were in the process before COVID, and there was one project also, which is Harit project, which is harnessing appropriate rural intervention and technology.
Let us first finish this. So now this is the picture lying here. This is the one that you are seeing on the screen, isn't it?
Right, sir. This website is also, we manage it. It is our website.
My question is, what is coming in the way of getting it diffused in the society?
Sir, when we want some manufacturer to get the TOT and make production out of it and also distribute, they are facing the issue that all the blinds are already interested in some subsidized way of buying things like this technology.
That's correct. That is correct. That is correct.
Right. So they are interested only if there is subsidy, and if it is very low cost, they will get it. And
Ministry of Social Welfare has a scheme for assistive technologies.
Sir, we
this is
also
an assistive technology. So what is CEL doing? CEL is manufacturing it?
Yeah, they have manufactured already 100 pieces, and some of the pieces, like around 25 pieces, we have already shared with users. But due to CEL, we are not in touch with the, due to COVID, we are not in touch with the actual users. So we are not getting all the feedbacks, and so that we can improve if there is any lack in the device in its use.
I can put you in touch with Blind Person Association. Bhushan Punani, former chairman of this association, is my former student and a dear friend. He's a fellow of Royal Society of the Blind and a very reputed person. He would know a lot of people around the world. So write to me a mail and give me the contact of CIL person also, and I'll put both of you in touch with him, and then let's see. This is a beautiful example, very good example. But it should not keep lying buried somewhere as a prototype. That's my point.
Yes, sir.
That's what the risk is. Most of the time, our solutions remain stuck somewhere. And I'm saying, let us find ways of overcoming that barrier, which prevents such good solutions to reach masses. All right.
Right. And sir, also I'll request you to, if there is any technological connection from abroad, who can develop or improve the version. Like we are using some boards, computing boards inside it, which are taken from Chinese manufacturer.
Okay.
And now we are facing availability issue.
Okay.
So either we have to go for another board and we have to integrate again, or we can go for a solution so that it is.
You have not tried to use Arduino or something like that, open source board?
No, sir. It is some board which is equivalent to Raspberry Pi. Arduino is not capable of doing that much of processing.
Raspberry Pi can be used.
Yeah, but Raspberry Pi based model were not accepted because it was taking a little bit more power. So we needed to incorporate a little bit more battery, which was making the device bulky, and also size was more. So we reduced the size using that computing module. So we are also touch with some Taiwanese guy under CSIR headquarters intervention. But all these things are interrupted due to this COVID.
You send me the challenge, definition of the challenge, as you very precisely mentioned. And the current cost, the current board that you're using.
Okay.
So that somebody who has to suggest can suggest. I can boom it. I can beam that to the lab, UNDP ACT Lab network. I and Anamika working closely with them. Gyan is closely working with them. There are 90 labs in 113 countries. So I can beam your message to all the labs, and somebody might be interested in this, and they might like to work with you.
Right, sir. I'll share the
Send
mail.
me the contact person's mail, you or whosoever it is. Send me a PDF document or something where you describe enough about it and mention on 2 or 3 or 4 lines about challenge. What do you need?
Okay, sir. Okay.
All right. Yes,
Thank
you.
Hello, sir. Sir, we are a group of 5 students in CSIR-IIM, and we want, as segregation of waste is not at source, is not implemented in our institution. So we wanted to do the project on segregation of waste in our institution as to fulfill as fulfillment for this course. Should we go ahead?
My request is go beyond the lab. You see, you will solve the problem of your lab, I'm sure, and it will also be done because all the things are under control. So that will not give you the idea as to what will it take to do it in society at large. So if you do it in a nearby community, that's fine, but do it in a community context, please.
Do it
whatever
in a
model you have, whatever you want to do testing, write a synopsis and send us. We'll give you feedback, but do it in a community context.
Community context means at a larger area.
Well, not necessarily larger. It could be a smaller community, but community outside the lab.
Outside the lab.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may use some technologies. For example, if you have some herbal extract which can biodegrade or microbial solution which can biodegrade faster. Yeah, that's fine.
Microbial solutions.
Yeah, so if it can decompose waste, which otherwise would have taken 3 weeks, you can do in 1 week or 2 weeks. By all means, that's a great idea.
Okay.
We need such solutions. Yes, Prashant.
Our lab has worked on waste degradation.
Very good idea.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Prasant Mohan Trivedi, and I'm from Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleoscience, Lucknow.
Yeah.
Sir, in societal program, we have a group of 4 members, and we need to do something related to fostering public awareness towards the preservation of paleontological relics.
Very interesting. You know what? In Rapar, in Kutch,
okay,
you have marine fossils.
Yes, sir.
Lying on the roadside. People have used it on making ones of the farm. So there is a marine fossil park, but I don't think a systematic effort has been made in this regard. It's a very good problem, very relevant. In Himachal Pradesh, there are mountains where you find round stones which come from riverbed or a sea, or in ancient times, sometime earthquake took place or some volcanic explosion took place, and the sea bed went up in the mountain, right? There are parts of Himachal where you find such stones. So it's a very important point that there are relics of this kind which we need to save. Particularly marine fossils, to my mind, is exactly what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
But there is no proper effort to either categorize them, make an inventory of them, record them, who has what. I mean, there is no such system. So I think if you do a project where you can take examples from different parts of the country where such relics are found in concentration and creates public awareness about why do we need to preserve them, for understanding about our history, about evolution and all of that, would be a great idea. Please do that and write to me and I'll share with you, because I have been in Rapar. We had a show there and we found so many stones lying all around just like that. I may have 1 or 2 with me, which I'll send you the photograph of. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to share an example where you are addressing or you know about open innovation which is stuck somewhere but needs to go to the society at large? Just as example, we took of the Vinyan, very good example of a scanner and reader in Indian language. I mean, I had never seen that before. So it's a beautiful example. It can empower our children, our young people, our entrepreneurs to benefit who are blind and want to learn in their own language. Nobody else would do that for us. So it's a powerful idea. And it is stuck somewhere and we have to get it off the written, make it available to people. Such solutions can become very powerful if they can open source the design and ask people in a competition. Can be anybody who can make it faster, frugal, and more flexible will get an award. Faster, frugal, flexible. Yes, Ashwati, please go ahead. Ashwati, unmute yourself.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So it's kind of an idea actually. We don't know how much we can implement as an 800 project. So we were having a thought regarding that. So I wanted you to know your opinion regarding if we could use it as a 800 project. So the idea is we have so many R&D labs, all over CSIR or whatever the thing is. And the thing is, if we don't even start the innovation from our own labs, how are we supposed to implement this thing in the society? So
Correct.
the basic structure is we have to do it ourselves first. Then only we can make expect others to do that thing. So the thing is, I was the topic of a member of 6 that was like the sustainable eco R&D labs. That was the first thing, because whatever sustainable and eco-friendly R&D labs. So it is whatever we are processing, like for example, the distillation units. Every single lab is having a distillation unit. The wastewater is coming from that, because half of the water is going as a waste. So what if we can redirect the water into a tank, use it for the gardening? So the entire water is not even wasting it; we are using it in another purpose. And every lab is having a canteen. Like every institution is having a canteen, and they are using whatever food waste is coming that. And what if we can turn the half of the thing into a biogas, and whatever the chunk is remaining, they can use it for the gardening. So every single thing is actually converted into one way or another. So whatever waste is acquiring in a lab is actually using in the same lab. So it is more like a circle. And
it's called circular economy.
Yeah, more of like that. And in our lab, it is
circular economy, or what is called also industrial ecology. There they define a waste as a product for which use has not yet been found.
Yes.
So there is nothing. It's a zero waste economy.
Yes. And in our lab is actually CSR and IST. So it is interdisciplinary lab. So we have chemists, biologists, and even metallurgists. So mechanical people.
Even the waste media and the other things. How can you use it more after sterilizing it? What are the ways? Because as you remember in one of the class, this batch or previous batch, people mentioned that most of you dispose of your media and other things in the normal waste, and that gives rise to AMR, isn't it? Antimicrobial resistance, because that waste go to normal dumping ground and it creates problem. So it's very important that we dispose of our in microbiology lab, particularly so, but also in chemical lab, wherever there are toxic substances, we cannot put them in the drain just like that. They need to be disposed properly. So if you want to create a model for any lab in the country, I think this is an interesting idea, that any college lab, by zoology lab, pathology lab, or
so our kind of, and one more thing is arising here. Since our lab is interdisciplinary, we are having metallic scraps as well, bulk, and we are just dumping it up particular. What if because I have talked to the metallurgist in the group, we have a metallurgy guy as well. So he told that we can mold it into a cubes, and actually we can give it to small scale industry so that they can use it as a raw material, because it is a waste for us, but it is a good material for them. So why can't we do something like that? So I was thinking about a 800 project in which we make a prototype of a lab. We make an idea, give them a 3D structure of a lab, where in which we implement everything and show them that this is the idea which we have. I don't know how much we can, it is not like we are going to implement this year. Maybe in the near future, whenever another generation comes, the next batch comes, which
on metallurgy issue, I can connect you to Dipankar Sarkar. He was earlier in IIT Bombay. He may now be in Kolkata. He had developed a furnace using 5 ampere current. He could melt aluminum on a desktop. So he showed how you can use this furnace, a device for, he changed the properties of current. How did he do that? He's a genius. So if you have small quantities of material, you can't go to a blast furnace, for melting it and creating ingot out of it. So you need a desktop furnace. And with low power requirement, he would do that. So I can connect you to him, try to engage with him. He's a bit idiosyncratic person, as most geniuses are, but it will be nice to get his guidance and share with him, and then he might guide you properly. I don't know of anyone else who has created a furnace, desktop furnace, which can produce 2,000 to 3,000 degrees centigrade temperature with 5 ampere current, and the wire doesn't become hot. It's an amazing thing that he has done. So,
so is this project viable actually if we make
it's a viable, it's a very interesting project that you're trying to do. If we can generalize it into a guideline or a manual, which can be used by any lab, I think that's a good idea.
Because we were planning that we have to submit a more like presentation regarding what we are doing, right?
Good idea. Yes, I would suggest all of you start working on your project.
On that time, we can actually make a 3D model using a software, something of the lab, and in the actual lab.
No. Lab model is not required. Lab, we all understand. What you need to do is to show the processes which you will use to process different kinds of waste, and maybe some data on that if you can give.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that will be worthwhile. So it's like a proof of concept. In 1 month, you can't do much. December is the month when you are supposed to finish your project, by January 1st week. I think January 7th, the term ends or something like that, January 8th or something.
Okay. So by the time we have to submit whatever result,
yes, I will check with Ashwini, but I think I vaguely remember January 7th or 8th is the term finishes. So by that time, you should submit your project. But it is good that you have started thinking along that line. And I would only suggest that when you take projects,
starting it to the next level, so that's why.
The CSIR 800 project of Divyan, CSIR 800 project of a portable refrigerator, I mean, these are good examples, very practical examples. They need to go to society. And my suggestion is that make them available as openly as you can so that people use them. If you don't do further work, you go out, somebody else should take it forward. Why bury it in a fast shelf somewhere? That's all my request is. Make it work. All right. So we will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. But I would my appeal to all of you is, if you know of any tech solutions that can be made open source, and you want my help in diffusing them, or our GAN's help, or Honeybee Network's help, we will be very happy to hear about them. I can connect you to my students in IMA who will be very happy to work with some of you to develop business plan, to develop strategies for these products to go to market, etc., etc. So if you send me right away, I will connect you immediately to some students who are looking for projects, because they will be deciding in this week. So I will be happy to circulate to my class. I have got about 50 and odd students, and some of them have chosen projects, but some of them are still looking for, and your ideas can be very interesting. If you need to work with our IMA students, this is a good opportunity for you to do that. So please let me know, and I'll connect you to them. I also have alumni of the previous class, which I and Anamika have taught, to ePGP. That means people who are working in companies and did their course with our institute. I also have their connections, so I can circulate to them. They can be your mentor. If you need technical help from experienced people, they'll be very happy to mentor you. So let us know, and please send a synopsis of your project as early as you can. We will be very happy to give you feedback wherever we can, and then hopefully these solutions will go to masses much farther and much faster than ever before.
So how are we supposed to send a synopsis, sir? By mail or directly?
You can mail it, or we can also create a Google folder. Bimini, are you around? Are you there? Anamika? I will send a mail. Sir? Can we make a Google folder where they can submit their synopsis?
Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, so just put it in a minute. Then this folder she will share with you. You can all upload in this folder. That will be the easiest way. So then my mailbox will not get clogged. And you can also see each other's proposal if you want to, and you can give feedback to each other if you want to. That will be wonderful. That will be a good way of implementing open innovation model in our class itself. So, and if you want to build partnership with somebody, supposing you find somebody's project is very good and you want to join their team, from my side, there is no restriction. Inter-lab team will be encouraged. Inter-lab team will be encouraged. And I have talked to Dr. Sangwan. He also has no objection to that. So interdisciplinary and inter-lab team from our side are perfect. If your lab has no objection, we will be perfectly in sync with you. So Anamika would be sharing with you the folder, and then we can put it Any other question about your synopsis? Anybody wants to ask any other question, general question about the projects? You are welcome to ask that immediately now. Any doubt that you have, any clarification you want? Do something which is very meaningful, which is operational, which can go to masses. That's all we will suggest. It does not go, okay, but at least make an attempt. It's very small, but I mean, both the examples we have seen are very good. NPL example and which was the CSIO example. Anant, yes, please go ahead.
Sir, is it necessary to form a group of 4 or 5 people?
Not necessary. You can make a smaller group.
The thing is, I am the only one from my lab. So to
You
start
can do
a
alone.
project,
You can do alone. I have no problem with that.
yeah, okay.
Or
That
if you want to join hand with somebody from other lab, you're welcome to do that also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Say from NCL or from some other lab, you want to make somebody partner. Just float your idea and somebody will, I'm sure, offer to join. You have any idea already? I can just mention it now.
Oh, sir, we actually discussed it earlier on regarding the mental health
Actually,
issues
mental health.
of
So
scholars.
some of them had mentioned this. So any one of you who had earlier mentioned your interest would like to join Ananta, please join her. Send her a mail. Ananta, you can mention your email on the chat.
Okay, sir.
You can get group members. So the folder is already there. Anamika has put it on the chat. Can you copy it? And Anamika, can you also send it by mail to them? So Dr. Namika might share with you. Last date, I think we should put last date as December 1st. Would that be all right? Today is 20th. We have almost
20th November, sir.
Huh?
Today is 20th November.
So 10 days is more than some, or 1 week will be more than okay. I mean, I would suggest,
yeah, sure.
1 week to 10. I mean, if you really need more time, let us put 1 week. So 27th can be the first deadline. And if you need to be extended, then we will do it up to 30th. Is that all right?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, with the 27th deadline. And if something holds you up because of some urgent work that comes up in your research, then do it up to 30th. But give us time also to give you comments. So then if earlier, and don't wait till 27th. If you have an idea earlier, send it. Keep sending it. Keep uploading it.
Yes.
And then we will.
Yes.
So Namika, have you shared? Professor Namika, have you shared this link in the mail? Prajakta, boliye.
Hello, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask, do we need to have some product or can we give solutions also for that project?
Yeah, it need not be product. It can be process also.
Yeah, for example, now I'm a biologist, so I can think of a solutions to give rather than making a product like that. So
no, biologists can work on the product, but
yeah, I'm asking like
which
hello,
lab
sir?
are you from? Which lab are you?
CCMB Hyderabad.
Okay, supposing you were interested in fermentation technologies, and if you take some ferment food from Northeast, there are students from Northeast here.
Sir, I was thinking of neurostimulants as you had suggested me in one of the earlier lectures.
Okay.
So that was I was thinking.
Why not? Brahmi is well known, but you can think of some other one.
Yeah, so in that direction, I can give this, I mean, some suggestions and process. It will be fine.
That means you will not do any work. Is that what you're saying? You will only write a review article?
No, yeah, but in the review article, how should it be used or how can we promote it like that I can give?
No, you will need evidence. You will review scientific evidence of its utility first.
Okay.
And then you are saying that you will say that there are sufficient studies to show that it is safe, that it is, it meets regulatory requirements, and therefore it can be used as an amendment or something, supplement. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
All right. I mean, if you find that it is not possible for you to do a lab work and you can write a review article which can be shared with society at large with sufficient scientific rigor and all the ethical norms that must be taken care of if it is an edible substance or food substance. Do that all, and then please go ahead. I mean, that's fine.
Okay,
Our
sir.
purpose is to solve or meet an unmet need. That's the purpose of the course. Meet an unmet social need. So what is that unmet social need? If you think that a lot of people suffering from Alzheimer or dementia or something, and in case your solution is based on traditional knowledge and you're providing scientific evidence why it should be used, that's good. That will be properly satisfactory. Which means that safety trials have been done over the years if it is part of Ayurveda, but there's not sufficient scientific evidence which you are going to put together. That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So we have, December 1st.
Excuse me, sir.
Just 1 second. December 1st to 3rd, we are going to have presentation of a synopsis. So it is all the more necessary that you finish it by 30th. December 1st to 3rd is the date for presentation of your synopsis. Yes, Jyoti?
Yes, sir. Exactly. That was my question.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So we need to present it by 1st to 3rd December.
Correct. Yes, Jyoti?
Okay.
Thank you. Present your synopsis. You can't finish the project by 1st to 2nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to present the synopsis. Okay.
Yeah, Jyoti?
Yeah, sir, as I have already told you that we are from NISPER. We are from a lab where there is no wet lab is there. So we are working, we are a group of students, we are working on an idea like the wastage that is coming out from our household wastage, like mandir se jo wastage nikal raha hai, especially not flowers. I'm not talking about especially flowers. This is more than flowers that jo chunniyan nikal rahi hain, the idols that we are replacing every year on Diwali. So these kind of wastages that we are just throwing either in the rivers, or we are just putting those things under some people tree or something. So we are thinking to make a framework so that we can we can do a kind of.
I can also put you in touch with a startup that we have, Yash Johri, who is using temple waste, coconuts and flowers and so on. He makes colors out of them. He makes incense stick out of them. He makes keychains out of them. He makes flower pots out of them. So I can connect you. Write to me mail. I'll connect you to him so that you have a startup to implement your ideas also.
Okay, sure, sir.
He's doing business in this field.
Right, sir. So
your project will have a customer. Your project will have someone to implement. So you can do it. You will be happy that your findings can be useful to somebody.
Sure, sir.
All right.
So I just wanted to know a little bit about how can we go about it. So will it be a good idea to directly go and talk to the startup?
Well, if you can mobilize and review as many different processes that are available in open source or literature, which can convert these materials into more value-added products.
Right, sir.
And then if you can collect methodologies and collect regulatory guidelines, put together so that if somebody reads your report, they can get into business right away.
Right. Fine.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, Sangeeta, you can highlight the problem and presentation, but also give a way of solving it. You have to finish your project by December end or January 6th or 7th, I think. I will find out. What Dr. Sangwan told me was that January 6th is the term ending. So before that, you will have to submit the project. I will check. But most likely, you assume for a minute December end or January 1st week. All right. Okay.